Today is Wednesday, May 14, 2025, and a marathon of severe weather ahead through late this week and early next week. We start today with a slight risk, 2 out of 5 up across the Dakotas, Nebraska, into parts of Minnesota and Iowa. We also have a 1 out of 5 over here into parts of the southeast mid-Atlantic states as well, so we don't want to forget about you for severe weather. Then going into tomorrow, Thursday, May 15, 2025, we have a orange area. That is an enhanced risk of severe weather, 3 out of 5 from the Badger State of Wisconsin down into northeastern Illinois, southwest lower Michigan, and northern Indiana, with a slight and marginal risk surrounding that in yellow and dark green. And then as we go into Friday, we have a level 2 out of 5 slight risk of severe weather stretching from West Virginia all the way back into central Arkansas, along the Ohio River Valley and the Tennessee River Valley. We're going to be keeping an eye on that going into Friday. So we are looking at a lot of widespread heat across the United States this afternoon. In fact, temperature anomalies in the upper Midwest and northern plains today back to 35 degrees above normal here for mid-May standards. And our highs up here into Minnesota, the eastern Dakotas today, into Iowa and eastern Nebraska will be around 90 this afternoon. But the more widespread record-breaking heat well into the 90s, we're talking upper 90s and triple digits. We'll be down here into Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Southern Texas today could be up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So make sure to hydrate frequently with water and electrolytes. If your job or anything ventures you outdoors today, especially the peak heating of the afternoon into the evening, make sure to take frequent breaks in shaded areas and an air-conditioned room. Very important here going through the next 24 hours. The heat will still be alive and prevalent tomorrow and going into Friday from the Great Lakes all the way southward into Texas and the Gulf Coast, meaning more record highs will be possible here from Illinois, including Chicago, back down through St. Louis there, Louisville, all the way back into southern Texas. Another day in southern Texas where we're going to be near 110 degrees tomorrow on Thursday and Friday as well, and more record-breaking heat along the Gulf Coast, including portions of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas, and Florida going into the end of the week there on Friday, May 16th. Now, we are going to be seeing a big western United States trough that's going to be shifting across the Rockies and into the western plains this afternoon, and that is spelling us the risk for severe weather. We already talked about at the beginning of the video. We have a 2 out of 5 slight risk of severe weather into the eastern Dakotas, into east central Nebraska, including parts there of southwestern Minnesota and northwestern Iowa. We also have a risk over there into the mid-Atlantic, but our main focus is going to be across the Dakotas, Nebraska, Minnesota, and Iowa. The hail risk is significant down there into central and eastern Nebraska. Could be up to apple size with some of the strongest updrafts today, so be watching out for that. And then the tornado threat is a 5%, very small area, but still a 5% there in central Nebraska. And the green surrounding that into South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa, that is a 2% chance of tornadoes within a 25-mile radius in or around that area. So we're looking here at today, and notice here this afternoon, very quiet. The atmosphere is capped, which means we're very dry, very warm this afternoon. But as we go towards the evening hours, 6 o'clock, we're going to be watching storm initiation back into the western and central Dakotas, perhaps a couple bubblers over here into the Nebraska Panhandle and northwest Nebraska. Those could already be producing severe hazards of hail, winds, and an isolated tornado. But as we go after dinner time, especially toward the 9 o'clock hour, notice how robust those thunderstorms will be in South Dakota and Nebraska. Very large hail, apple size like we mentioned. We could be seeing 60, 70 mile per hour winds on the leading edge of this cluster of showers and storms, and an isolated tornado, especially on the southern flank of this cluster. And then as we go toward the midnight hour, this is going to turn into more of a very heavy rain and wind threat as this shifts across South Dakota and northern Nebraska. And then by the wee hours of the morning there on Thursday, this will be on a weakening trend as it approaches southwestern Minnesota and northwestern Iowa, but still producing the chance for severe weather as well. Now, looking at rainfall amounts, going to be a very big area of heavy rain across central South Dakota and northern Nebraska, upwards to 4 inches in some areas. So some localized ponding of water on the roadways, low-lying existing ditches, drainage areas that are poor to handle water could be affected by this. Creeks and streams, as well as some tributary rivers, so something to keep an eye on there as we go into the overnight. It doesn't end there. We have another trough that's going to be coming in across the plains, and this is going to be ejecting into the upper Midwest as a negatively tilted trough. Negatively tilted troughs are the most dynamic of troughs. You have neutral tilt, you have positive tilt, and then you have negative tilt. This is a negatively tilted trough, and a very strong low pressure system will result from this. And our severe weather threat, because of the dynamics of being a negatively tilted trough and a strong low pressure system, will enhance our severe weather. In fact, there is an enhanced risk across Wisconsin, across Lake Michigan there into southwestern lower Michigan, northern Indiana, northeast Illinois. That is a 3 out of 5 on the risk scale, and I'm real concerned actually about some very large hail, some destructive hail from the Twin Cities all the way back down into Milwaukee, Green Bay and Madison, Chicago, Fort Wayne and Indianapolis, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, all the way back down into Evansville, Carbondale there. So we have a lot of big cities in the mix here where hailstones could be up to softball size as we go into tomorrow, and the tornado threat in those same areas as well. 5% chance of tornadoes in the cities we just mentioned, 2% outside of that in green. Again, a large area with a tornado risk tomorrow. So we're looking here at the parameters. A lot of instability in the atmosphere, especially at the surface, over 3,000 joules per kilogram by mid-afternoon tomorrow, and that will promote thunderstorm development. Now, there is going to be a cap on the atmosphere, and the cap is going to prevent thunderstorm development in a large chunk of this region in the Midwest. So tomorrow morning into the noon hour, hugging up to the afternoon, going to be very dry. The cap is on the atmosphere. The thunderstorms are going to be very hard pressed to develop because of the cap. But as we go into the afternoon, 3 o'clock, notice we start to see some development up here closer to the low pressure system as we have enhanced lift the closer you are to that strong low pressure system. So the Twin Cities, western Wisconsin could start to see the thunderstorms first, and then they'll start to unzip down the Pacific cold front into central Wisconsin here, Stevens Point, the La Crosse area, maybe as far south as Madison. Supercell thunderstorms, destructive hail up to softball size, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and a couple tornadoes will be possible. Not even ruling out a strong tornado. Going into the evening hours, some of those supercells could try to build and break the cap down here in northeast Illinois, into northern Indiana and southwest lower Michigan. If the cap does break, brace yourself, because some big storms are going to be on the way, and then they'll start to weaken as they push across Michigan and towards the eastern Great Lakes Friday morning. Look at the convective footprint here, noticing it's not very widespread, so these are going to be scattered severe thunderstorms. So not everybody's going to see a thunderstorm tomorrow, and quite honestly, more than 50% of us will stay dry across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Ohio Valley. But if you do get under one of those storms, brace yourself for a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning potentially tomorrow. Make sure to seek shelter if those are issued for your area. That is for sure. Now, going into Friday, we mentioned a slight risk, 2 out of 5 on the risk scale in yellow, from literally Cincinnati all the way to Little Rock, Nashville included, Louisville, Evansville, Carbondale, all the way back to the boot heel of Missouri, including the St. Louis area and Cape Girardeau. We are watching the threat for damaging winds, large hail, and a couple tornadoes primarily. We look here at the thunderstorms as we go into Friday afternoon. Notice it's more of a line of storms, so that tells me damaging winds and hail should be the main risk. But any supercells, those individual cells that develop out ahead of the main line, if they do develop, the tornado threat would be maximized with those. Keeping an eye on that, and it's going to continue to press down to the southeast into Tennessee, northern Mississippi and Alabama, even into portions there of the Smoky Mountains in eastern Tennessee as we go into the overnight hours on Friday. Overall rainfall amounts will be heaviest near the strong low pressure system. Beneficial rains for the Dakotas, upwards of 2-3 inches is expected through Saturday morning. On May 17th, a little bit lighter amounts with more scattered nature over showers and storms on the eastern flanks of the system, but there will be heavy rainfall. If you do get under one of those storms, quick inch or two of rain will be possible. Now, going through the next 7 days, right? This is May 17th through May 24th. Coolest of our air will be across the north, the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, a good 25 degrees below normal, which is a stark contrast from what we saw a few days ago. North Dakota, 2 days in a row, hit 100 degrees plus. So definitely going to be a nice welcome sight to see some cooler air up here. Warmest of our air will remain down into Texas. So what you see is what you get. It's hot now. It's going to be hot over the next 7 days going through the 24th or so. And we're going to see a moisture-laden system again into the central United States as another trough swings in. This is going to bring the threat for not only heavy rainfall, but some severe weather. Western Oklahoma especially, but parts of southern Kansas, northern portions of Texas on Sunday, May 18th, with slight risk of severe weather. And then it only shifts maybe 50 miles east as we go into Monday, May 19th from portions of Wichita, Oklahoma City included there, down there into northern portions of Texas, just north of the DFW metro there on Monday. If we look here at the trough, it's going to be coming into the West Coast this weekend on Saturday, May 17th. Shifting across portions of the desert Southwest on Sunday. And look how far south it digs, all the way to the California Baja there and into portions of northwest Mexico. So we're keeping a very close eye on that. And ahead of that trough on Sunday, May 18th, dew points are going to be into the 60s and 70s down here, especially into central and eastern Oklahoma. Very sharp dry line here. So the Texas Panhandle and West Texas, very dry dew points out here. That's going to create our lift. We're going to have a lot of storm energy, 4,000 joules per kilogram there on Sunday. And the subtropical jet is activating our wind shear down here on Sunday. So we're going to have some wind shear, which means that will help to organize our severe thunderstorms. So here's Sunday morning. Ongoing storm clusters from Saturday into Sunday could complicate the forecast a little bit. We are expecting a period of some dry weather, which will help to make our atmosphere more unstable and moist. And we're going to watch for scattered supercells developing in that slight risk area here. And again, it's one of those deals where if the cap breaks, brace yourself. We could be seeing some destructive hail, some stronger tornadoes. We'll keep an eye on that. Looks to be more of a Sunday afternoon and early evening threat, and then the cap strengthens and we start to see those storms weaken later Sunday evening. Going into Monday, the dry line is continuing to shift into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Warm frontal boundary up here from Nebraska, northern Missouri, and into southern Illinois. Keeping an eye on that for a focus for lift. A lot of instability here, more widespread there on Monday, May 19th. And the synoptic trough will be arriving as well. So that will feature the potential of a tornado outbreak actually into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas more on Monday. Monday could be a more significant threat and more widespread threat. Look at the afternoon. We got clusters of showers and thunderstorms, supercellular the further south you go into Oklahoma and North Texas. So that will be concerning from a tornado standpoint. Further north you go, it's more of a damaging wind hail threat closer to the triple point and the warm front up there near the low pressure system. Now, as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, severe weather will be possible in parts of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Tennessee Valley. A little bit more low confidence with this, just simply because we're still so far out from this. Northwest flow, though, will reestablish later on in the week, which will cool us down in the north and maybe bring us a few showers at the end of the next week on Thursday the 22nd, Friday the 23rd, and Saturday the 24th of May. And this is going to be a moisture-laden system, as we talked about. Very heavy rainfall on the order of 2 to 4 inches widespread across the Central Plains, lower Midwestern regions, the Mid-South, all the way up into the Ohio Valley, and then getting into the Northeast as well. And look at the Pacific Northwest, actually pretty wet in Montana, Idaho, northern Utah, Nevada, over here into Wyoming and Colorado. Very wet conditions going through the 24th of May. Now, the last week of May will feature a trough in the east, which will cool us down for Quebec and Ontario, but also the Ohio Valley up into the Northeast. Notice these greens. This is about 15 to 20 degrees below normal, what we should expect for the last week of May. Warmest of our air will be across the Rockies and West Texas this go around, and you can see with the ridge of high pressure building across the southern Rockies, lots of sunshine. We're going to be heating up. Trough out east, which means unsettled weather, cooler weather as well. Above normal precipitation favored for the Northeast here, and we could be seeing some hefty rain for New York State, northern Pennsylvania, all the way up toward Maine. So that includes Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and along the New England coast as we go into the last few days of May. We're going to continue to track for you the severe weather, so make sure to like the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel for the latest accurate weather information. You can always follow me on Twitter. It's in the description down below the video, and I'll see you all in the next video.